Yeah. All right, hey everyone, Jeff here at StopThePirates.blogspot.com. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, take a minute and hit the like button and subscribe, and the bell button and all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all, and then we can get this information out to more people. Share it on your social media. Anyway, so 88 years ago today was the biggest gold heist in American history. Yeah. House Joint Resolution 192, issued April 5th, 1933. Under executive order of President, all persons are required to deliver on or before May 1st, 1933, all gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates. Now, before they did this, they had to turn the American people into the enemy of the state, basically. And under the Trading with the Enemies Act, all U.S. citizens are considered the enemy because you're a POW, you're a prisoner of war on a slave plantation, and that's how they were able to get through with this executive order. Now I'm talking about the accepted for value history. It goes all the way back to this. When they took away your ability to pay for anything with gold or silver, they took away your ability to pay, and now all you can do is set off and discharge your public debt. That's any debt tied to your slave number, which is your Social Security number. What else was there? Yeah, anyway. So how do we make some sense of the accepted for value thing that seems to be so popular, and how does it apply? Well, since the men and women are the guarantee for the liability in the public by the act of accepting the benefit privilege of limited liability of the public debt, then it is obvious that men and women are the creditors of the public and national bank or national bankruptcy. The men and women are the sponsor of the credit. That's why if you still have a checking account, and your checking account routes back to one of the 12 Federal Reserve Bank holding your exemption account, not to Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Chase, but it goes to one of the 12 Federal Reserve banks. You look at the back of your Social Security card, you'll see a letter that determines which Federal Reserve Bank, A through L, is housing your account, and then the 8-digit account number after that. Just look at a $1 bill. And then look at the back of your Social Security number. See that G right there? So you and I are the source of all this currency based on the amount, based on actuaries, based on the amount of money you're going to make over your lifetime paid into the, anyway, G is for Chicago. Okay, so what has happened with the United States is that it has been operating under reorganization bankruptcy, specifically called Chapter 11. This is an interesting bankruptcy in that this reorganization, the filer of the bankruptcy fills the role of as the trustee in the bankruptcy in the position known as debtor in possession. And if any creditor in the Chapter 11 does a dishonor in the bankruptcy, the debtor in possession in the role as trustee will liquidate the creditor to the amount of the dishonor, because the creditor has become a delinquent creditor, meaning that the creditor had the obligation to settle the matter with the debtor, but refused to do so when so requested. So any request made by the debtor in possession to the creditor of the bankruptcy must be accepted. If not, the creditor turns into a delinquent creditor and gets liquidated by the debtor in possession. So if on a certain day the debtor comes to the creditor and says, "Forgive me this day my debts," and the creditor does not openly and freely forgive the debtor, then the Lord will call him to account for that insult on the prepayment of debts. In theology, we would call it blasphemy against the Son of God. And in commerce, we would say that it is a violation against public policy. It would be dishonor of a benefit which has already been utilized by the person when they become a part of the association of citizens who are guaranteed to one or another that they would not hold one another accountable for any public liability. Now let's start to talk about these public liabilities that we're required to forgive. Anything that can be shown as an entry in a double entry bookkeeping account would be, of course, a public liability. If a certain matter cannot be ledgered in double entry accounting, then it is most likely a matter to be resolved in a private manner and not in the public realm. You can easily discern a public versus private communication. The public request for adjustment will always come directly to the trust account, demonstrated by the title of the trust being styled in all capital letters, such as John H. Smith. This is a direct attempt to attach the bond of John H. Smith Trust. This is, of course, a violation of public policy to attach a future liability by trying to avoid the present liability. Okay, so basically you have a bill that's sent to you by a debtor, who we think is a creditor, and there's the note, the Federal Reserve note, and then there's the bond that's set up for you at your birth. And this is a typical demonstration of how one greater debt is used as the insurance policy for the smaller debt. The bill represents some past liability, where the note, the promissory note, represents the present liability. And then the bond is the indemnity for some future liability yet undetermined. So a device or scheme that has been devised to attach the bond to the trust, which is in fact the labor of the men and women who have put themselves up as surety for the national debt, is for a holder of a past obligation to try to go around the present liability and go to the bond, the future. In other words, instead of settling the thing in the here and now, in the present, the attempt is made to enslave the surety in some future event by attaching the bond. This is what they're doing. So the way that we prevent that from going on is to take that bill that is sent to the bond and draw it back into the present by doing an acceptance of the bill and returning it for settlement back to the original presenter of the bill. And when that is done, we have defeated the scheme of attaching the bond for the future liability. All right, so I'll go ahead and leave it there for now. Go to stopthepirates.blogspot.com and remember to please like, subscribe, and share the video. Smash the like button, and links will be in the description.